welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Okay, I love that you're here because I think you've had such an interesting journey in terms of products and now books. And I talked in the intro a little bit how you started with Kick-Ass Corporate Wife, right?
Yes.
Then you pivoted recently to devotional books. Okay, like where did this idea come from? Give us the history about this.
Well, the idea for writing a devotional book came from way back when I was a child, because my grandfather actually gave me a devotional book. It's a hardcover. I actually still have it. I even wanted to show it to you. It's called Hello Sunshine. And my mother used to read it to me when I was little, and it had illustrations and they were daily proverbs. And so I don't know why that got stuck in my mind that, I guess it was something that gave me comfort and encouragement and inspiration. And so through the years, I would read devotional books. And then I started reading one most recently within the past 5 years that was just a daily verse of scripture, and it would have text to it. And then you could kind of write your own notes. And I would pick this thing apart for 5 whole years. I read it. And then all of a sudden, that book was discontinued and COVID started. And my mother was living with us at the time because she came to visit and couldn't get back to Texas. And so all of a sudden, I thought, well, what do I do now? The book that I read every day is no longer available. And I just sensed that God was nudging me to create my own content and maybe challenge myself a little bit further with what I was reading and not relying so much on what somebody else was saying. And so I started sharing my writings with my mother every day. And over the course of about 21 days, which is what in my mind creates a habit, and some people may say it takes longer, but 21 days is not threatening. And she was reading these along with me. And we were both collaborating on it a little bit with editing and such. And then all of a sudden she suggested, you know what, you should really write a devotional book. And it's interesting because pivoting from Kick-Ass Corporate Wife to this Become More devotional book is very much everything that I wrote in Kick-Ass Corporate Wife was sort of the foundation for both books, because I had as a sort of like a tagline in Kick-Ass Corporate Wife, there is more, become more, you are more. And so writing Become More as a devotional book was sort of a next segue for me.
Okay, I love this. And I love that you had this book and you said, I picked this thing apart.
Yes.
And you thought, why don't I create my own, right? And
yes.
did you ever have doubts like, who am I to write my own book or write my version of this?
Every day. And especially at the beginning, because I'm not a theologian, I'm not a pastor, I'm not somebody who's a Bible thumper. I don't do all of these, I'm a Christian and I believe in God and I'm a follower of Jesus, but it was not like I'm something that, someone who's always, making that known. I just always have tried to live a life that's where people wouldn't be surprised to find that out. But as I was writing and growing with reading what I was writing, I just felt like I was called to do this. Whereas before, writing felt like more of an assignment, this sort of felt like a new calling. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to do it, and let's see where it goes. And if I fail, so what? I'll try the next thing. But to me, it seemed like the right thing.
Such a great attitude, because as course creators, a lot of time we're thinking like, who am I? Like, I hear it all the time, right?
Yes.
Who am I to teach this? Like,
yes.
I don't have the credential. Like, just what you said, right? Like, you don't have the credentials for this, but you had a calling to it. It's something that you were passionate about, and you said, let's go for it. And having the courage to do that. And then, do you think the part that your mom played, and just in your mom having that sounding board, and that was she a confidence booster for you?
Oh, tremendously, because I've always looked at her for inspiration and guidance, and she's just so well versed in not only scripture, but even in just everyday life situations that come up, and just having the wisdom that she has. She's going to be 92 in a couple of weeks. It's just, she's got so much to draw on. And as I was sharing things with her, even we would even see things in totally different light. And so it was very helpful to me to have her be the initial editor, because I knew if it passed through her fingers and it was okay, then I could keep going to a real professional editor and really make something of this.
And how nice to share in that adventure.
Yeah, it is. It's very special for sure.
So, sidebar, I haven't talked about this yet, and this is probably going to bomb, but I have a dream of writing a book with Tristan.
Oh, that'd be great.
So I got this book about Kidlit. We'll have to see.
You should do it.
I know. You have inspired me, seriously, because Tristan says I have a book idea, Mom. I mean, I have 3 protagonists. They're gonna be like, and he told me about it. I'm like, come on, let's do this. So I'll let you know how it goes. But
do it. That's perfect.
Inspiring us. Why? And then let's talk about self-publishing, right? So
yes,
more and more people are doing it. Why self-publish, right? Why go for that? What was your mindset around that?
Well, I think my mindset was mainly, the control that you have self-publishing. You can kind of do it at your pace. You can do it when you want to, and you don't really have to abide by anybody else's rules. So that was one. And then in terms of royalties, I guess you can control some of that as well. I guess I just thought that it would be a lot easier for me because I don't have a huge celebrity following. I'm not a public figure.
Sure.
And really, if you're with, at least my understanding is if you're going to be with a large publishing house of some kind, their role is to sell books, or they want you to already have a huge following that will buy your book. And so that, to me, I just never went that route. I never even considered putting my book in a bunch of publishing companies' hands. I thought, I'm going to do it this way. I want to learn how that all works. And especially, the first book with Kick-Ass Corporate Wife, I went the route of, self-publishing, but going through Kindle and such. And now with this, I haven't even done that yet. I am doing everything from printing. Well, I haven't printed it. We have a printing company.
You've done so much, though. And
yes.
I do want to bring in I want to talk about Alex, my husband.
Yes.
Because you talked about control, right? So
yes.
You have a copy of the book, so people.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So it's gorgeous. If you're listening right now, go to YouTube so you could see, and I'll put some images up of the book on the show notes. Gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. Like, talk about control, like not even control, but putting those little details, like the hardcover, the feel, like the design, right, the functionality of it. It's just gorgeous. Like, it folds in your lap. And I know those were details that were important to you, right?
Yes, and that evolved over time too. It was I really like hardcover books, and I thought, and I just think there's something more substantive about them. Yeah. And I also wanted a hardcover book that felt like it wouldn't, I don't know, I guess I wanted something kind of glossy, and to have it look like a coffee table book. It could be out on anybody's nightstand and they would be happy to have it there. And what other thing was an interesting element was that when I was writing the book, I actually took the cover photo. It was a cactus in my yard, and it would bloom over time. And so I kind of felt like it was blooming there along with me in this process. And so this particular photo I'm not a professional photographer either, but it was just a photo that I thought, wow, I really think this is a beautiful one. I worked with Alex and you to come up with, this cover design. And then the reason we went with a hardcover spiral, was my mother said I would really like to have a book that I could hold in my lap and sit in a chair and read and write in, and it wouldn't, flop around. And so that's where the spiral came in. And so all of these things just became ideas that all of a sudden, as we discussed them and worked with each other, and not really even having a huge deadline, I wanted this whole process to be sort of organic, fun, and exciting and creative and inspirational. And that was what happened.
So 2 points that I want to make here. One, you had this vision of a photograph, like you're saying you're not a professional photographer, but this idea that you had this vision. We were just talking to another client about her logo, and she's like, I don't really have any ideas. Like no logos pop up to me, but like just having that inspiration, I think as a course creator, as an entrepreneur, is so helpful. And then look, it becomes the cover of your book, right? And then
Yes.
second, thinking through that functionality, you thought about your end user. Your mom could be the end user, right? Like you have a group, right? Like my understanding, you have a Bible group. Is that
Uh-huh.
right? Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
just thinking through how would they like to use it, and I think
Yes.
we forget. I think sometimes because we think, oh, we just got to get the content out there. We forget about the delivery or how
Yes.
it's used, and you were so thoughtful about that, and
Well,
I think that's awesome, and that's another reason why self-publish, right? So you can do what you want the way that you
yes.
want to deliver it.
And Alex was really great about that too, because as we discussed how the book would be used, because it's not just a book that you read, but it's a book that you pause and consider and contemplate and write your own thoughts or goals or however you want to interact with it. It becomes that reader's book. So if they're even writing in it, we had to come up, we even thought, oh, should we sell it with a pen? And then it became like, people like to have their own pens, but we didn't want the ink to smear. So then we had to test paper. And, so there's a lot of things that came up that I had no idea would come up, but it's a very cool process to learn.
Part of the process, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about marketing, because I love
Yes.
talking about marketing. You did something unique here. You did a direct mail campaign. And okay, so where did this idea come from? Like, talk about that campaign a little bit.
Well, the idea for that was twofold. Number one, I used to sell direct mail. That was a job that I had years ago. And so I am a firm believer in direct mail because I know that it works. People don't necessarily like it if they get a big pile of ads in their mailbox every Tuesday or Wednesday, but those ads sell pizza and they sell, closets, and those companies wouldn't be in business if it didn't work. And so I guess I'm a believer. And then on another side of it, I really have always loved thank you notes, personal thank you notes, Christmas cards, just different, personalized mail. If there's something addressed to me with a stamp and handwriting, I open it. Yeah. And maybe I inherited it from my father, but he used to always love to go check the mail. Oh, I'm going to go check the mail. Well, now I find I'm going to check the mail.
Am I the only one?
I know.
I love checking the mail.
Some people don't want to get bills. I get that.
Oh, yeah, I guess. And it's only I'm getting that many letters or anything fun, but there's something about it, the anticipation of it. So
yes,
I understand that.
So I love that. And also I look at how I respond to mail too. And so I was looking at a direct mail piece that I got in the mail, and it was from a pastor who was it was actually not from the pastor, it was from the pastor's mother. And she was asking his following, I guess their business, as a church organization, to send him a birthday card, to just wish him a happy birthday. And it was like a direct mail piece that said, if you'll just write a little note to him and send it back in the self-enclosed envelope or, stamped envelope, we'll make sure he gets this card. And I just thought, I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to write happy birthday. It just seemed like a nice thing to do. But, kind of like a feel good thing. But I saved that letter because I thought, wow, this is really interesting that I'm responding to a piece of mail from somebody I've never met. Right. I don't know these people at all, but I just love the way the copywriting was even on the letter. It was so personalized. It even had handwritten or looked handwritten. I don't even know to this day if that is handwritten or if it's a computerized image of handwriting. But on the envelope, everything about it I saved, and I thought, I'm going to do something similar when I market my book with the Christmas card list that I have. We have a Christmas card list. I always love sending Christmas cards. We have I don't know, probably a list of about 250, 300 people. And I thought, I'm going to start marketing my book to those people I know or remotely know or am connected to. And that was my idea of how to do it, just differently, because I didn't want it to get lost in the email shuffle. I delete a lot of emails. My email box is so full. I thought I want to go to a space that isn't full, and mailboxes are not full. My mailbox is not that full anyway. So um, that was my idea.
I love this. So space that isn't full, right? You're like,
Yes.
where is it not overly saturated right now? And
Yes.
you're right. Like I am seeing more, or maybe it's just me wanting to do more direct mail because I think that's smart. Like for our clients who have events, like I think that could be super effective. I think if you've got the right course or the right product or event, and then it's so grassroots. I'm always talking about
Yes.
you can do grassroots marketing in terms of your course or your program. You started with your Christmas list, right?
Yes.
250 people on that, and that's the perfect example of grassroots and starting with your network. And then you had a postcard. So Alex
Hmm.
designed a postcard for you. And then
Yes.
also what I loved about it is you made it easy. Maybe we'll add that to the show notes if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Is what I liked is you as options. Like you could have
Yes.
scanned the QR code, right? You
Yes.
could mail it back to you. And then was there a third one, Susan, on there in terms of
Yes,
ordering the
there,
book?
well, yes, you could, yeah, we had three options. You could
Okay.
go to my website,
Right. Okay.
and you could, which, you could put in the www.susanburlingame.com,
Yep.
and then you could scan the QR code. And
Mm-hmm.
we put like option 1, 2, or
Or
3.
three.
Yes.
Right.
And then, and then the third one was you could actually send either a credit card or a personal check and make sure the billing and the shipping are the same and mail it back to me. I did not include a stamp. I thought they'd have to want it in
Yeah.
order to
Oh,
really
I.
get
That's
it.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And also another detail is I didn't put my personal home address. I did have a
Right.
PO
PO
box for my
box.
business. So
Right.
that was another thing. And
That you have to think through, right?
yes,
And
and testing the QR code and
yes,
everything.
and people have bought how many, all three ways, or has it been a dominant way? Because I know some
All
people have
three
bought.
ways. The
Okay.
dominant way is really going, I guess they're going through the QR code. I actually, that is one of the things that's kind of nice is I do have the analytics on it and I
Mm.
can see it. And it,
Okay.
it was interesting to me to see that people would write out their credit card and send it through the mail, snail
Mail
mail, not instead of going onto
on the
the computer
website.
and putting it in.
But see, this is great because this
Yeah.
is your audience, right? And this is
Yes.
you meeting your audience where it's at. So maybe
Yeah.
for older folks, right? Maybe
Yeah.
you're more comfortable filling out that form and mailing it in. Some of you are listening right now, like, are you bananas? Like
They did. And
people
some
can't
didn't.
fill this in, right? Or these
Yeah.
are the people who are writing checks at the grocery store. Like,
Yep.
you know who those people are, and you have
Yes.
some of them as ideal clients, ideal book buyers, right? You
Yes.
met them where they are, whether it was like mail that back or go. But if the people who are more tech savvy to the QR code, that's why I love
Yes.
this so much. You just can't, like, wherever you are, I'm gonna meet you there.
Yes. And it was interesting to see that even with some people, they also, I got orders beyond their order. One wanted me to send it as a birthday present to somebody else. Another one wanted, 10 copies for her Bible study. So it was just, really interesting to see how, and then I've gotten repeat orders from people who've come back again. So it's been really interesting to see. And that's the only form of marketing other than maybe word of mouth
Right.
that I've done so far.
Right. So, okay. And you're already seeing some really nice success in terms of this
Yes.
direct mail campaign. So I know one of the things I asked you was like, what's next? And I said, hey, we could workshop a little bit on this podcast.
Yeah.
So I would love to see you do an online multi-channel marketing campaign and start to get your feet wet in a couple of different areas. And you have the potential for this, like start building up your email list again. So I know after Kick-Ass Corporate Wife, like you had a list, but it went quiet a little bit. We've all been
Mm-hmm.
there, right?
Yeah.
But re-engaging them like, hey, it's Susan, here's the story, here's where I've been. Now I'm doing devotional books, right? And I've got this great book, so I think there's an opportunity there. I think for social, so we've talked about changing up your Instagram and pivoting that and looking
Yes.
at other accounts that are doing similar things to you, maybe starting a book account, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's committed to that. So people do course accounts all the time. I think starting to put yourself out there in terms of some media, right?
Yes.
I think group sales, you just said it. Somebody bought 10 books for their group, right? Like, how
Yes.
can you tap into that more, going to different churches or other faith-based groups and saying, I got this devotional book, they can get a break on a bulk order. So I think all of these, I think like our next step is to make a plan for you, Susan, a multi-channel marketing plan, and see like how we can get the word out there. Like, what do you think of all that?
Absolutely. You're right on target, because I think if we were to take all of those things and just, peel back the onion, it's really helping people know I exist and giving them something that will help them. And because going from not knowing I exist to knowing I exist through all of those different channels, because I'm not opposed to it. I just wanted to really start small.
Yeah, you
So,
wanted to start, and I think was part of you wanted to validate. Part of you
yes.
wanted to see like, is there a real audience here, right? Do you think that was part of it?
I do. I really do. And I also think one of the great things that came out of it by knowing this group is that I'm able to really look at the persona of who my reader is, because I'm really I'm learning that they're very different than what I would even expect them to be. I mean, one's female, if I could
Yeah.
boil it
So
down to
how
maybe
did it
even
surprise you?
2 to 4. Excuse
Okay.
me?
How did it surprise you? Like, what do you? Who is your persona? Like, what did you think your persona was? But who is
Oh
it?
gosh, I just give well, I guess I would think, oh, my persona might be somebody just like me, maybe my same age, maybe who goes to church or something like that. But one persona is a Hispanic male, and another one is, an older gentleman who's a professional, and then another woman is in business, and so there's just and has a huge career, so there's just interesting. And then there's people who are my mom's age. So there's just all, and then even younger people too. I've had, one of the very first questions I got was, and this made me really think about a persona too, was she said, what's a devotional book? And I thought, wow, I need to really even consider that that's not known to everybody. And yet they were interested too. So there's just so much I can do with the marketing and the channels. And that's why you and I really have to do. We
We're
have
gonna
to,
talk after this.
yes,
So
exactly.
opt-in idea, right? It's
Yeah.
because maybe you have people who practice their faith in a certain way, but have never used
Mhm.
a devotional book before, right? So
Yeah.
like I really didn't have a great awareness of that. Like I was raised Catholic. Um, so that's interesting to me because going back to me hopefully writing this book with Tristan, I was trying to figure out, okay, where's an outline so I could figure it out. And then I figured out I have to look up kid lit, KID lit. And I was like, I
Yeah.
didn't know it was called kid lit. So they should have an opt-in or something for me, educating me about,
Yes.
it's called kid lit. This is the different kinds of formats or structure, right? So it's the same for you, educating people that have a baseline of faith, but then don't know that there's a practice that they can do that can bring them closer to their faith.
Yes, all of that. And some are, really practicing their faith, and are involved in Bible studies and doing all sorts of, things that are even much more advanced than what I would do. I mean, some are pastors that I've even shared it with. And it was funny, I shared it with a pastor of the church I go to here in the desert, and he sent me this funny little thank you note that just said, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to be, predatory with your content, but I'll give you all the credit, and he's just being funny. But even if he does, what an honor,
Yeah, that's so
it's
great.
great.
I love that. That's awesome. See,
Yeah.
and that's the mark of, okay, it's time to scale. Right?
Yes.
Like you've got the interest, right?
Yeah.
And it's time to get the word out there. Okay, so we've got work to do here, Susan.
I know, I know. Well, and another thing that even came up with it too that's neat is, when we were even talking about how the book gets out into the hands of people too, and Alex has had a lot of, and you have had a lot of buy-in on how we even package the book, with the boxing of it and with the, stickers and labels and different things. It's been a really fun, creative process.
Yeah, I have
So,
to give you. I'm glad you brought this up. I have to give you
mhm,
credit because your attention to detail is super, super sweet. Alex is working on the sticker, and there's going to be like a note card with it, right? So it's an experience.
Yes.
When they open it up, right?
Yeah.
Is that kind of your thinking behind it? Why pay so much attention to those little details, Susan?
Again, when I get a product when I purchase a product from somebody, even if it's, online, and it comes to my house and I open the box, or the box itself has maybe a beautiful label, or you open the box, it's got tissue or a sticker or a ribbon or a little note. It's just those little details that make me want to be a repeat customer. It makes me feel like I got more than what I even asked for. And I love over delivering.
I agree.
Under promise, over deliver.
My understanding is more books, right?
And for future books. Yeah.
Future books. Okay.
Yes.
I love this. So I want to market the heck out of this book first, and then we can start doing more books with Alex. So that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Give us the URL so folks can check it all out.
Well, you can find it at becomemoredevotional.com or through my first and last name, susanburlingame.com. Either one directs there.
Awesome. Yeah. So looking forward to seeing this really scale up, Susan. So thanks for coming on and sharing about your work.
Thank you, Gina. Thanks for having me, and thank you for all your help.